We are live. Priest Hakah versus Truth Unedited live debate. Gentile salvation. Are the One West Hebrew Israelites Masons bars? That was a bar. Do the One West Israelites go back to Masons and Gentile salvations?
We sell out.
It's Priest Hakah, giving all praise and honor, glory to the Most High God, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. I'm joined by my brother.
Brother Sai, what's going on, everybody?
Type deal.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
So this is obviously in response to the recent videos that the brother Truth Unedited made. Put a one in the chat if you've seen his video. A bunch of people sent me the video and asked that we give our response to it. So
man, I got so many text messages about this and this. So hey, we're here. Hey, we're here now. We're here now. Ain't no going back. You already done hopped in the car. We on the other side. It's time to slide. Ain't no turning around. All praise. There should be all ones in the chat. That video went viral. He's going in on us, man. It's viral now. So what we're gonna do is this, y'all. This is gonna be the order of the class. We're gonna play some clips of his videos and his claims. We're gonna bring the elder who was right up under the elders, the originators of the One West persuasion. Bring the elder on. Then we're going to play the debate with me and Truth Unedited that was taken off of YouTube. And I'm going to play some clips of that and just show you how he is being a liar, he is being a hypocrite, and he is being a slanderer. I'm going to prove this to you guys. I have the evidence. I have the file. I have the video. And then I'm going to show y'all where to go. You have to go to that Patreon to get the full phone debate, the full debate, because it was taken off of YouTube. But that is going to be the order and structure of today's broadcast. What's going on, Hassad? How you feeling, man?
Yeah, all praises to the Most High. And from what I saw in the video, it's just pretty outlandish claims. These guys are set up by the white man or something to that effect. They're Freemasons, etc. So we're gonna dive into that. And I can say here at Genesis, Deacon and I are not Freemasons.
Man,
right? Come clip on, that man. And do whatever you like. We are not Freemasons. Somebody's gonna take see a video of me doing just a regular pose, like I'm sitting here, I'm like this. See, look, that's a Masonic hand gesture. You know what I'm saying? Apparently you can't even breathe because I guess that's Masonic.
Okay, let's see. Let's do it like this. Should we do it like this? Should we do it like this? I think we should do it like this.
That one's better.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna play this, and then we're gonna get the elder on here so we can talk about the embryonic stages in Genesis of the One West Israelites. You like it like this?
Yeah, that's better, I think.
Okay, so let's play this, y'all. Make sure this is turned all the way up.
Christian and Crowdy shared a message of anti-racist unity. Their churches being home to mixed congregations of black and white members during the time of Jim Crow legislation. They held that not only African Americans, but Native Americans and Asians were also lost Israelite tribes. All of their ideas were given to them through their Masonic associations. They were basically told that the minorities that they knew in America that were not white, they were all lost Israelites, and this foundation of this message is important to understand as we get closer to understanding the doctrinal beliefs of the Israelites today, because they have a chart that they hold to. So let's keep discussing these men.
Now, no, I have to.
Are people letting you get away with this? You can't just say things like that.
Now, I want to rewind that because he's saying that these are all the camps. So it isn't just Genesis. It isn't just IUIC, as you see on the screen. It isn't just ISUPK, Watchmen for Israel, SOT, all the GMS, GLT, all the camps. It's all the camps who stem from One West. He's saying that though William Crowdy and Christensen are our founding fathers. Now I'm going to tell you guys the correlation that he's trying to draw as far as the lineage goes. All right. And when I bring the elder on here, we'll talk more about it. But listen to what he just said. Those guys had white people in there. Listen, Hassad, do you think that I'll ever let a white person in my church?
No.
He'd have to be a chocolate covered Edomite lying about that.
They can come and serve.
Yeah. They can come. I mean, not even serve. Like, they got to just be in hardcore bondage, bro, immediately. So already there is a stark difference between one West Israelites and these, what you are alleging to be our founding fathers.
Yeah, and
right.
Jet Li is in our organization. Apparently, we're letting Asian people in our congregation. What Israelites have you ever seen do that?
Okay, let's play it through. I just had to highlight that. Hey, Yaiquab is saying, don't talk after every 5 seconds of the video. If you want to watch his full video without our commentary and showing how he's lying, then go and watch the video. Let's play it through.
Christian and Crowdy shared a message of anti-racist unity. Their churches being home to mixed congregations of black and white members during the time of Jim Crow legislation. They held that not only African Americans, but Native Americans and Asians were also lost Israelite tribes. All of their ideas were given to them through their Masonic associations.
Pause real quick.
They were basically told that the minorities that they knew in America.
I really could, and yes, there is a debate for real. So everybody just stay tuned. And this is why I don't want to say too much, but it's so poorly even put together, the presentation. There are two individuals acknowledged as the founders of Hebrew Israelites. What does it mean? First of all, doesn't he believe that we are the Israelites? Digging?
Yeah, he does, but he's saying we're the face of Hebrew Israelites. So the camps are the face of the Hebrew Israelites. So these are our founding fathers, as if these two guys were the first ones in the Western Hemisphere to wake up to the truth, which is BS.
Right. So even the way that he frames Hebrew Israelites, he's talking about one West Hebrew Israelite specifically. So it's a belief system, the one West Hebrew Israelism, as it's coined by vocab, right? They wouldn't be the founders of Hebrew Israelites. Those are people. Genius. Go ahead.
Let's keep going. Yeah, he's Negro only.
That were not white. They were all lost Israelites, and this foundation of this message is important to understand as we get closer to understanding the doctrinal beliefs of the Israelites today, because they have a chart that they hold to. So let's keep discussing these men. 7 years after receiving his revelation, Christian published a book. It's called Poor Pilgrim's Work in the Name of Father, Son, and Holy Ghost on Christian Friendship Works, written in 1896. The preface opens with the statement, Freemason religion is the true mode of all religion. All other modes of religion are not worth 1 cent. Now look, I have attached a PDF to this book in the description box in case anyone wants to read it on their own.
Now, dude was a Mason. We condemn that. There's murderers, wicked Negroes who know we're Israelites. You are, and then he made a claim too. Thank y'all for the super chat donations. Greatly appreciate you. He's making a claim that white secret societies taught these white Masons in secret societies taught these black niggas Hebrew Israelite doctrine and said, keep your Masonry and still go and mix that with some Hebrew. This is what he's saying, everybody. He's saying that there's a secret society of white people who selected these guys, said, all right, practice Masonry. And did you also know that you guys are the Israelites? Now go teach people this. Please show me that proof and I will just take this whole channel down. Show me the proof that white Masons or some secret society said, let me go to these black Masons and tell them they're Hebrew Israelites and let them go tell other people that they're Hebrew Israelites. Go ahead.
And isn't there a separate branch of Freemasonry that black people had to be a part of because they weren't allowed into the white establishment. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. There's a particular name of it. So they're going to say, okay, we're not going to let you be in the white Freemason club with us, but we're going to tell you that you're God's chosen people. You're the greatest people on the planet Earth. What?
Now he later says, and you guys are going to hear it, I don't know, I can't prove this. Then why are you doing a 4-part series then? Let's keep going. Again, if you're just watching, I'm going to play some of me and his debate and prove him to be a liar and a hypocrite, because he said, oh, the Israelites are hateful. I got him on record saying, yes, God does hate Esau. Yes, the Edomites can't get saved. Yes, the other nations will be serving us in the kingdom, and that the camps are just jumping the gun. I got those receipts. But he's on his channel, oh, it's Christian. Everybody all come serve Yahuwah. We're equal. He's a liar. Let's keep going.
That many would have heard him preach there. Now look, Frank Cherry, of course, he was also a 33rd degree Prince Hall Freemason. He held a developed eschatology which predicted the year 2000 as the end of the Gentile age. This was the third 2,000-year period of creation. And what follows is the beginning of the 7th millennium, the Sabbath era. This is important to note because obviously after this timeline that he predicted did not come through, this is how the current Hebrew Israelites of today came into existence.
Wow.
And you see,
wow.
It was from these three Prince Hall Freemason men, William Christian, 1856 to 1928, William Saunders Crowdy, 1847 to 1908, and Frank S. Cherry, 1868 to 1963. These three men are the beginning foundation of the Hebrew Israelite camps.
Man, this nigga is one of the cold. You know what? He got a lot of Christian followers, so I can't even go in on him like that. I gotta be nice. But this is horrible work right here. Diabolical work. And he needs to show the connection between us and these three men. He's not going to be able to do it. Go ahead.
You going into three people who 100-something years ago shared one shared belief that we have, which is that we are the Israelites, does not make them our founders, no more than me going and showing how David Duke believes in Jesus and you believe in Jesus makes the Ku Klux Klan your founding religion. This is ridiculous. This is how dumb this is. And I'm sorry to have to use that type of language. I remember when he said, I'm sorry I have to use that type of language on your show, Deacon. But this is really dumb. This is stupid. That's the word to use to describe the information being presented. Just stupid.
Okay, let's keep going because, like I said, I'm going to bring the elder on here in a second so he can give us the breakdown of the history. And I'm going to show you guys the angle that he's trying to pull, but it's still not going to work. We don't teach anything these guys teach. They didn't believe. They said certain Asians were Israelites. We don't teach that. Well, if they're our founding fathers, why aren't we teaching their doctrine? I don't even think they believed in legalism. We believe in legalism. We believe the Latinos and indigenous people of the Americas are the Israelites. Yeah, they had white people in their churches.
Yeah, we believe that we're the Israelites. That's the only thing we have in common with them, and we're black. That's it.
All right, let's keep going.
They were all Prince Hall Mason Christian pastors that were taught about the identity of the Negroes in America, and they became the foundation that the sect of Hebrew Israelites in this world are based from. These three men right here. The churches established by these three men still exist to this day. Now, let's be clear that it's not like the current Israelite groups don't know of these men. I'm not just making this up on my own. I mean, on the website of the IUIC, as they go over the history of the Hebrew Israelites, you will note that as they speak about the history of the Hebrew Israelite movement, they highlight these men and others that I will be speaking about later. But as you read what they write about them, there is an important detail that is noticeably missing from that history, and that is the Masonic connection.
So he's saying that because IUIC highlighted them, that they knew we were Israelites, we should have condemned that they were or they knew we were Israelites, but we're condemning them because they're Masons. That's not the point. The point is to highlight and magnify that our people knew and were teaching that we were Israelites. That's the point.
Look at this.
And I want him to show, I'm gonna give it right to you. I want you to show before your series concludes, how white people taught those three men that you just highlighted, Cherry, Christian, and Crowdy, that they were Israelites. Show that proof and connection, please. Or you're just lying. Go ahead, Asad.
He just absolutely destroyed himself, you guys. He just literally exposed himself. I want to show everybody this. Put a 1 in the chat if you just heard him say, matter of fact, go back, Deacon, if you please could, when he says their churches still exist to this day. I think it's about 10 seconds ago. I'm so happy I found this. All praises to the Most High. Please go back where he said their churches
your truth should be able to be scrutinized, and you should be able to.
It's right before he puts Bishop Nathaniel on there. He says their churches still exist to this day.
Mm-hmm.
These three men right here, the churches established by these three men still exist to this day.
Stop. Watch this. He's right for one of them. Look at this. Let me share my screen. Vocab Malone, I remember, posted this 3 months ago. Hi, Vocab. And look what it says. I spent last Sabbath with the Independent Church of God and Saints of Christ in Newark, New Jersey. William Saunders Crowdy, the main pioneer of early Hebrew Israelism, died in the leader's house. That leader's name was Queen Melinda Morris. After the service, members allowed me to see the pictured artifacts. She used to wear these while speaking. I learned so much, etc. Right? So look at this. Their church, one of the churches that William Saunders founded, exists today, and they don't keep Torah at all. They're a Christian church, and they're cool with
his face. Look at his face.
Exactly.
He got a butt face. He ain't got no beard.
Right. So how does this expose him? He's trying to say that these are basically our patriarchs. Like they invented modern day Hebrew, one West Hebrew Israelism.
And these would be our siblings. He would be our sibling then, if that's the case.
Why are they completely different than us then? Why does this picture exist? You know what I mean? That's the question.
Oh, wait, he might. Oh, never mind.
That's not even a shot at Vocab. He's going there, and it just shows you that we're completely.
I'm saying no. He got a picture with a one Western.
Let's be clear that
it don't matter.
Like the current Israelite groups don't know of these men.
The point Assad is making is that man's face looked like a baby's ass. Like we don't have no connection. Those are not our siblings as far as spiritually.
I'm not just making this up on my own. I mean, on the website of the IUIC, as they go over the history of the Hebrew Israelites, you will note that as they speak about the history of the Hebrew Israelite movement, they highlight these men and others that I will be speaking about later. But as you read what they write about them, there is an important detail that is noticeably missing from that history, and that is the Masonic connection. Then your truth should be able to be scrutinized, and you should be able to deal with the challenges and be able to explain why you are still in the truth. But what most of these sects do is they validate themselves by the ignorance of others, and this ignorance is primarily found within the pride of Christians.
Well, you can't say that about me, because I wanted to debate you formally. We had that phone debate, which I'm gonna play to everybody. The many times you basically double talked and being a hypocrite, how you condemned us for the same thing that you believe, but you won't say it openly. At least we have the cojones to come out and say what we believe openly. You shared some of the same beliefs as me, but scared to say it openly because of your Christian audience. Let's keep going.
So let's be clear here. The first Hebrew Israelites in America were given their understanding through Freemasonry.
Prove that.
The awakening of the dry bones that was prophesied of comes through Yahuwah.
He got to prove that.
This is what is prophesied of in Ezekiel chapter 37. Thus says Yahuwah Elohim to these bones, surely I will cause breath to enter into you, and you shall live. I will put sinews on you and bring flesh upon you, cover you with skin and put breath in you, and you shall live. Then you shall know that I am Yahuwah. Ezekiel chapter 37, verses 5 through 6. You must be clear and understand that this is not what happened in the 19th century when the Hebrew Israelites were established. This group was not awakened by Yahuwah, but awakened by Freemasons. I often truly wonder if at certain degrees, Masons are truly told who the Negroes really are. But because of their oaths and their hatred of Yahuwah and Yahusha, they don't actually care. and so they help the enemy keep us blinded so that they can receive certain benefits. I don't know this for sure.
You hear what he said? I don't know if the Masons are told we're Israelites for sure, but I'm just going out in front of my 700,000 subscribers and saying that Crowdy, Cherry, and Christian were told that they were Israelites by white people, other Masons. Yahoo! It's you gotta really be careful about them Yahuwah niggas, man. Them niggas are the most bugged out as far as all the Israelites go. Yahuwah, Yahusha, you niggas are the most bugged out.
If this
you
was
don't
in
got the proper pronunciation, go ahead.
If this was in a court of law, like this wouldn't even go to trial. This is not even admissible evidence. There is no evidence linking One West Hebrew Israelism and its origins to Freemasonry. It doesn't exist. You going to IUIC's website and showing how there's, they show the history of different brothers waking up at different periods of time to the fact of them being Israelites is not evidence that's IUIC. That's one group. So that's not even evidence that IUIC is connected to Freemasonry, let alone all One West Hebrew Israelites groups. That's just stupid. Why, man? I just don't like dumb stuff like this, bro.
Just say it. I don't like black people. Hey, shout out to Bishop Nathaniel. Shout out to Bishop Nathaniel. Sometimes I don't like talking to black people.
They're gonna clip that. See, he just said in the video that they're trying to keep our peoples,
and so they help the enemy keep us blinded so that they can receive certain benefits. I don't know this for sure, obviously, but many times I feel like this because.
Oh, okay. We got the elder on. Now, before this portion, we're going to get into some of this debate that me and him had. Like I said, the video was taken off YouTube. I'm just going to highlight a couple parts of me and his debate where he agreed that the heathens are going down in chains. There's an ethnic hierarchy. God hates. Esau's done. But he'll go on his channel and say, we're wrong for saying all of that. I'm going to play that debate for y'all, and I'm going to put the Patreon link in the description box so you can catch the whole beat down. Right now, we want to call up one of the elders of our camp, the elders of his own camp, and the mentors of other camps, powerful, powerful elder, Priest Don Yala, to give us some One West history and, to address the claims that we stem from 3 Freemasons. The camp stemming from 3 Freemasons is crazy work. Everybody, welcome Priest Danya Allah. All praises, brother. Shalom, Zaquan.
Hey, Shalom, Deacon. So I just got home from work, so unfortunately, I'm not in a position to set up my camera. If I have to do that, I'm gonna need some more time. If I'm good as I am, then we can just.
Good. You're good.
All praise to the Most High. All praise. Shalom to you, Priest Hakah. Shalom to you, Assad. All praise to the Most High. Shalom to the audience. All praises.
Shalom. So I don't know if you heard. I think you watched his video a couple of days ago, but we're at the part where he's saying that we, for sure, the camps who teach on the street, who are under the One West umbrella, go back to those 3 men, Christian, Crowdy, and Cherry, and our foundation is built on Masons, and we teach hate and all of this stuff that he's saying. So can we just get I know we talked on the phone, but can you give it to the people, like the genesis of One West and how it doesn't come from Crowdy, Cherry, or Christian?
Well, I don't know how much time I have, Deacon. I mean, excuse me, I said Deacon. A priest. I don't know how much time I have, and so I don't want to start there. First thing I want to start off with by saying is that I heard when I came into the live, I heard him saying, he's not sure, probably, possibly. That should be a red flag to the audience already. That means he doesn't know what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. Hopefully you guys heard that. That should be a red flag. Your antenna should go up automatically. So this is what I want to say. And Priest, just allow me some space. I might be a little long-winded. Hassan, allow me a little space. I might be a little long-winded, but this is history that I think that people need to know. So, I'm going to start someplace else completely unrelated to what we're talking about right now. So, before I became an Israelite, I was a 5%er. right? Nation of Gods and Earths, right? I followed or listened to Farrakhan, listened to Khalid Muhammad, others before I came into the truth, right? Which was the later years of the Nation of Islam. But there's a history that goes before that. After Elijah Muhammad died, for those that don't know, Slakia, and y'all forgive me, I'm a little under the weather, but I'm here anyway. After Elijah Muhammad died, for those of y'all that are a little young, y'all don't know, it wasn't a smooth transition to Farrakhan being the leader. I don't know if many of you guys know that, right? Farrakhan's son, Wallace D. Muhammad, took over, but there was he took them to what is known as traditional Islam. But you had another guy by the name of Silas Muhammad that kept the teachings of Elijah Muhammad, but he wasn't as popular as Elijah Muhammad's son, Wallace Muhammad. So the majority of the people that followed Elijah Muhammad followed his son, Wallace Muhammad, into traditional Islam. But Silas Muhammad kept the teachings of Elijah Muhammad, but he wasn't as popular. And then we know Farrakhan was with Wallace Muhammad at first, and then later on he left Wallace Muhammad and revamped the Nation of Islam. But there's always been this beef, even up to this day, because Silas Muhammad is still alive, and we know Farrakhan is still alive. Silas Muhammad said he's the rightful heir to Elijah Muhammad and not Farrakhan. Farrakhan says he's the rightful heir. Now, why am I saying all this stuff to you, brothers and sisters? I'm saying this stuff because none of us was there. None of us was there. I don't know who Elijah Muhammad said should take over. Should it have been his son? Should it have been Farrakhan? Should it have been Silas Muhammad? They're all saying that it should have been each and every one of them. But what I don't do from the outside is talk about history I'm not a party to. Does everybody understand that? I know of all the history. I know of all the contentions, but I don't insert myself as an authority to history I wasn't a party to. So now bringing it to what we're talking about now, we have a lot of people from the vocab balloons of the world to this particular gentleman, Truth Unedited, that Deacon is talking about right now. These are people that are not a party. So what happened at One West, or the history of One West, that speak authoritatively when they have no authority because they wasn't there. They don't know anybody that was associated with it whatsoever, which is why he was using words like possibly, probably, and I'm not sure, because you don't know, nigga. That's why. And this is me saying this, not Deacon. It's not Assad. It's me saying this. Now, with that being said, let's bring it down to the history of One West. So, the person that's always attributed with being the forerunner to One West is Eber Ben Yomin, who's also known as Abba Bivens. Abba Bivens is actually from the South. He's not from New York. He's from the South. And it is in the South where he comes into the knowledge that he is an Israelite in the South before he migrates north to New York. At some point, after he learns he's an Israelite, he migrates north to New York, and he begins to fellowship with a group of Israelites that existed in New York at the time called the Commandment Keepers. The Commandment Keepers do not come from Crowdy or Cherry. They actually come from a guy by the name of Rabbi Matthews. Rabbi Matthews is the forerunner of the Commandment Keepers, not Crowdy, not Cherry, not the Christians, but somebody else outside of that. His name is Rabbi Matthews. So when Bivens comes to New York, he already knows he's an Israelite. So what he does is he finds company and fellowship with other people that also acknowledge they're Israelites in New York, called the Commandment Keepers. But as time goes on, Bivens has a difference between them and him in his beliefs because he believes in the New Testament. He believes in HaMashiach Yahushua, Jesus Christ. So Bivens separates from the Commandment Keepers and he forms the Israelite school of Torah. That's what he did. And then from that, you have his students, Mashar, Ariyah, and Yaikwab, that founded One West. So no, One West does not come from the Commandment Keepers. One West does not come from Cherry. It does not come from any of those guys whatsoever, right? It actually comes out of Abba Bivens, who fellowshiped for a short time with the commandment keepers when he came to New York, but he didn't agree with them. So he started his own organization, and it is from there that the so-called One West camps are formed. We don't come from Cherry, we don't come from Crowdy, and we don't even really come from Matthews either, who founded the Commandment Keepers. And I want you and Assad to ask questions. I think I'd be better off answering questions if you guys have questions, more so than just rambling on. So, did what I say make sense?
Come on, LJ, makes sense.
So, I guess while we got the elder, we'll keep him on for a few more minutes. Do you guys have any questions in the chat? So I guess I would ask, so you're saying that even though Abba Bivens wasn't a part of the commandment keepers, he fellowshipped with them, but do the commandment keepers go back to Crowdy, Cherry, or
Yeah, they would come from they would come from that order. Yes, you could say that. That makes more sense. But Bivens already knew he was an Israelite when he got to New York. And so he just found fellowship with some people, like-minded people, when he came to New York. He's not from here. But once he got with them, there were certain things that he was studying that they did not agree with. And he brought it to them, and they did not agree with it. So he separated, and he did his own thing and formed his own school in Harlem. As a matter of fact, I'll take it a step further. Not only is Bivens not from New York, but Masha, who was really the top guy at One West, is not from New York either. Yaiquab, who was probably the second guy at One West, he's also not originally from New York either. A lot of the founders of One West are not from New York. They came here. They migrated here from other places. Yaiquab migrated from the South as well. Masha migrated from the Midwest. And I know this because I was under Masha's wing until he died. So Masha used to talk to me and Bun Lawyer a lot and told us a lot of the history of One West. I got it straight from his mouth. Most of these guys are not even from New York whatsoever. So they were not, because these groups, they get their genesis in New York, the Commandment Keepers, so forth and so on, right? They were very popular here in New York, but these guys are not from New York whatsoever. They came here, Bivens first, of course, and then Mashal and Yaiquab later. They came here, but they don't come from these organizations that people are saying that they come from whatsoever. There's no proof of that whatsoever. And here's the thing. I'll say this too. Most of the people that talk about the history of One West have no real connection to the organization as it existed when the founders were alive. And these are the people that can best tell you where the organization they founded actually comes from, right? So even though there's differences, all the camps have differences, right? You have Elder Torah of GMS. He has his differences with Bishop Nathaniel of IUIC. Bishop Nathaniel of IUIC has his differences, right, with General Yohana of ISUPK. And all of them maybe have their differences with myself or Zabak from HOI, so forth and so on. But we all tell the same story because we all come from One West. We don't come from the Commandment Keepers because our teachers who founded One West tell us that Bivens already knew he was an Israelite before he came to New York. He came to New York and fellowship for a period of time with Israelites that were up here. He did not agree with them, separated, and started his own thing. We don't come from Matthews. Let me make it clear. Rabbi Matthews is the guy that founded the Commandment Keepers. We don't come from them because Bivens separated from them. You had guys before Matthews. You have Cherry and you have Crowdy. We definitely don't come from them either. So no, that is incorrect. And that's why the guys speaking the words like, I guess, I think, you know what I'm saying, whatever. I'm speaking authoritatively because I was fortunate enough, even as a young man, 19 and 20 years old, to actually sit down with these elders that founded One West, and Mashal would tell me these stories from his own mouth. I've heard them. So I'm simply relating to y'all what Mashal used to tell me. Anyway.
So
okay.
my bad.
Oh, there's a couple questions. Let me get a couple questions from the chat. They said, do we know who taught Abba Bivens the truth when he was in the South?
No.
Okay. What part of the South was Abba Bivens from?
That's a great question. None of us know. And I will say that because that's a great question. I was meditating on that today. Maybe you guys can ask Tahar or Johanna. Maybe they might know. Because Tahar and Johanna before me, right? So they might know. But it was never a question when Mashah would tell me the story as a young man. It never was a question. I would think like, what state was Bivens from? It didn't dawn on me to even ask him that. I was kind of just listening to the story as he related to me. So no, I don't know what state Bivens was from in the South whatsoever. No, I don't know that.
Okay, one brother says, did Jewish people pay for Abba Bivens' funeral? If so, why?
Not to my knowledge. Where does that come from?
Yeah, Kazakia, do you have a source on that? And another brother says, so would you say that the commandment keepers are affiliated with Freemasonry?
I can't say that. I would say the commandment keepers are a lot more Jewish. They have a lot of customs that they keep that are like right now you have I believe his name is Rabbi Fournier. He's like the top rabbi over there, and they have a lot in common with today's modern Jews, so-called Jews, and they actually accept him. So, but to say that they're Freemasons and everything, I can't say. I have no proof of that. I'm not saying no, but I have no proof of that. I only want to talk about what I know.
Got you. Okay, so the fact that he wrote that book, Abba Bivens wrote a book, and we have all his theology of what he believes, that gives more credence to the fact that he couldn't have been woken up by the commandment keepers because they had two separate, totally theologies.
Yes, right. And that's a great point, Deacon. I'm glad you said that because that was something I was going to say and I forgot. So yes, you can just juxtapose what he wrote in his book as opposed to what the commandment keepers teach. And they're still around today. And you could clearly see that he had a different theology, which is why he's separated from them. So we can't come from them and be teaching a totally different theology than they teach. It doesn't make no sense. And that's why it's very important that we don't allow, and this is just me talking now. This is just me talking. I've had these conversations with a lot of people that come from One West, especially when we do these summits. I've had so many conversations with brothers, and I've told brothers this. I'm like, if those of us that was there do not tell a story, we're going to have guys like Truth Unedited, Vocab Malone, and others telling our story, which is a total lie. So if the truth of what happened dies with us, it's our fault. And that's not y'all brothers' fault. It's not Deacon. It's not Hassad. It's my fault and other brothers' fault. If we don't come forward and tell the story the way it really happened, it's going to be told by people that hate us.
Right. Okay. Somebody asked, is Elder Barak before you?
Yes, Barak. So if you some of the guys that go the furthest back in the Israelite community today, this is just the truth. You would have General Yohana. You would have Elder Barak. And you would have Elder Tahar. Those are probably some of the furthest back that you can get in this Israelite community today, as we know it, especially out of the One West camps. Barak, Tahar, and General Yohana are probably the guys that go back the furthest.
I still haven't forgot about that videotape we talked about. I'm still waiting on that.
I just texted Elder Zaquan, Priest Daniel, and asked him if he knows what part of the South Elder Bivens comes from.
I don't. No, if I sent real quick.
I texted Elder Zaquan and asked him that.
Okay, so yeah, Zaquan goes back very far too. By the way, Slaki, I left him out. Zaquan goes back very far as well. So shout out to Elder Zaquan of your house camp in North Carolina as well. Zaquan goes back very far as well. So, and we all know each other. So, and Bishop Nathaniel goes back far too. Not as far back as the three guys I said. Not as far back as Tahar, Yohana, or Barak, but he does go back before me too. There's not a lot of people that go back before. I can say that go back before me. But Zaquan is one. Barak is another. Tahar, Yohana, Nathaniel, but it's not a lot. know what I'm saying? People always look at me like, you don't look like an elder, because I came in very young. But there's not a lot of people that go back before me. Not really. Not really.
Okay, so a brother says, so if we don't, how can you be sure he wasn't informed by the enemy, who is knowledgeable of who we are?
Wait,
Well,
what does
the
that mean?
fact,
I don't understand the question though.
yeah, he's saying that since we don't know who taught Abba Bivens, could it be a white boy? And here, I'll answer it, and I'll just give it to you, Elder.
Mm.
The fact that his theology says that the white man is Esau, and they're getting judgment. He got books that he left behind. I don't believe the white man taught him to go and teach the world about their own demise. You just got to be logical and sensitive.
You're God's chosen people, and I'm the devil. Now have a good day. Like that, you know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense.
I think you guys answered that eloquently. I don't need to really add on to what you guys said. It doesn't make sense what we teach, or the white men have taught him to tell us to teach that. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so I do have the link to a couple of his books. I'll put them in the description box after we close out this broadcast. We'll get one more question.
If I could though, but again, I want to reiterate, it's important, Israel. I can't see how many people are in here, but I know a lot of people will watch this, and later on, it's important that we tell our own story, guys. When people start talking about One West, I need for Israelites to start asking people that are talking about it, were you there? Or do you know somebody that was there? Like, those of us that were there, we all know each other. So stop listening to these stories. Like Deacon said, you know what I'm saying? He brought me on because he knows that I was there to speak about what I know and what I witnessed. That's what you all need to do. With that being said, go ahead, Deacon.
Okay, last question before we let the elder go. This is a powerful question right here. Brother Debak, big G's, not the little ones. He says, question, what are some lessons from the original break off of One West that we can learn from today? Wow.
My God. Jeez. That's powerful. There are so many. Well, I gotta kind of gather my thoughts here. Y'all just bear with me. I think one of the first.
Like break-offs. Break-offs are good,
I agree. I agree with that. I agree with the break-off thing being good, and I can go into a whole soliloquy on that, because when we were but I'll be real quick about that part, and then I'll answer the question. Because and again, I have no proof of this, so let me just put that caveat out there first. But the elders used to always tell us that they were always being approached by, what I'm saying, the FBI, the government, whatever, to kind of sell out and sign a blank check. That's something that everybody that's at One West would tell you, right? They would always say these things. For all the years I was there, they were always constantly saying that they were being offered money to sell out. And so some of us that were there, not everybody, I'm one of the people that believe that at some point somebody took a check. And the Most High broke the school up and allowed all the break-offs to happen over the years to make it so that the truth could never really be watered down. Like, what I'm saying? It cannot be owned or co-opted, because there's always going to be a bunch, certain people that didn't take a check that's going to keep a level of purity to the doctrine, right? Even though the doctrine has still evolved over the years, but there's always going to be some people that didn't take no money that's going to keep it pure. And we've seen those other people that have gone totally to the left. Now you believe in the virgin birth, and you're halfway Roman Catholic, and all this other crap these brothers bring in, whatever. That's neither here nor there. So I believe in break-offs also, and that people get mad at me when I ain't gonna say who, but people get mad at me when I say that. But I believe God did that. Yahweh did that. That's my personal opinion, right? And I was there for the whole thing. And let me tell y'all, when these splits were going down, it was like a punch to the damn liver. If you're a boxer, you get punched in the liver. You know what I'm saying? You fall over, and the fight is over. That's how it felt when the splits were happening at the time. But in hindsight, in retrospect, I could look back and say, yeah, Yahweh did that. Anyway, what are some of the lessons that I learned from the old school? I learned a lot of good things from the old school. I learned that, and I'll give you just a couple. I won't be, because I could give y'all 100. But one of the things that Elder Marshall, who was the head of the school, set in place, which I I still keep today was the whole idea of the trooper program, because back at One West, you could literally walk off the streets, and if you had a homeboy that was in the school for years, he could slip you the officer's test, the captain's test, the general's test, because they would test where you just, all it was you ask people questions. If they can answer the questions correctly, and you know what I'm saying, they could actually get ranked in the school. That's how it went. It wasn't even about how long you've been in there. It was about who you knew and what questions you could answer, right? And I learned from Marshall setting up a troop program. It wasn't really about the rank. It was about coming in and really learning this thing and applying yourself. I saw Marshall, who was called King David in the school, actually be the most humble person. Like when they were putting that title on him, as bad as that was, as we all know now in hindsight, that was bad. But Marshall never really basked in that. He was always very humble. Marshall always loved the young brothers. He was never really down with the brothers that were his age. He always liked the younger brothers, the brothers in their 20s. Marshall was in the 60s. But you would always see him surrounded by the brothers that was in their 20s. That's why brothers always see me hanging around the younger brothers as well. I learned that from Marshall. Marshall was a beautiful brother, a great example of an elder. So I learned a lot from him. But also learned that in a school, um, there was a spirit of pride. There was a spirit of covetousness that was associated with rank. And brothers would take rank and aspire to rank to tear other brothers down, to destroy other brothers, to take other brothers' wives, to extort brothers, to do all these things. And I watched these things happen over years when I was at the original school. And then when the school split for the first time, I watched brothers watch their elders do certain things, and the brothers would take what the elders did, and they would bring it to the new school, and they would do the same thing. Same thing. And then that school was split. And brothers would take what they learned from those elders, and they would bring it to their new school, and they would do the same thing. And I learned, bringing it back to what I said about Marshall, about humility, man. Like just no matter how, and the scriptures tell you this, no matter how great you are, no matter how much knowledge you have, always remain humble, always remain relatable, always be somebody that when people come around you, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the truth, they don't feel that off of you. Because I used to feel that off of brothers. When brothers were generals and captains, they would make you feel that. They would scorn you like you're nothing. So I learned not to do that. I learned not to extort brothers. I learned not to extort money out of brothers with all types of, at One West, they had all types of funds, this fund, that fund. You have to give this, you have to give that, right? And the elders didn't even have jobs and didn't even, you know what I'm saying? It was so much, bro. I don't, I could be here for hours. Just, I guess the bottom line is that you just treat people, the old golden rule, you just treat people the way that you want to be treated. You respect people the way you want to be respected, no matter how great you are. You can follow the example of actual King David in the Bible. It doesn't matter whom. You always be humble, and you never, because a lot of the elders were not humble. And I'll land my plane with this, Deacon, because I don't want to be too long-winded. One of the reasons why the Most High brought most of the brothers down that was at One West was because a lot of those brothers were dealing with pride because of their rank. And when Marshall set up the trooper program, a lot of the camps you see today that go back to One West, a lot of the brothers that lead those camps were in that trooper program. They were the lowest ranking brothers at One West. That's myself. That's Zabak. That's Maharakar from Army of Israel. That's Elder Kahan from Light of Zion. We were in the trooper program. We were the lowest ranking brothers at One West when it split. And the Most High preserved us today outside of, a few camps like IUIC, ISUP, KGMS, but the Most High preserved us to continue this thing on. So I'll land there.
All praises. Hassan, before we let the elder go, you wanted to say something?
No, he already he already answered my question.
Okay. Well, yeah, man. I'm looking at the chat. A lot of people are greatly appreciative of, giving us a brief synopsis, quick summary, and overview of the One West history, and showing how we do not go back to Crowdy, Cherry, or Christian, and how Truth Unedited is just slandering and fabricating and smearing us, like a wicked person would do. So Tawada Priest Danyala, I appreciate you for gracing the channel. We're gonna play some of this debate for the people and say shalom to you, Zaquan.
And if real quick before I go, if he has any issue with what I said or any disagreement, I'll be glad to come back and me and him can have a one-on-one conversation because apparently he knows more than me and I was there and he wasn't. So I'm open to have that conversation. With that being said, much love to everybody. Appreciate y'all. Big G's, not the little G's. All praise to the Most High.
That's right. That's right.
Shalom, y'all.
Shalom, brother. Shalom. Habata. You heard that, Truth Unedited. We got an elder who will talk to you. Come on. Why would you go? You can get it from the horse's mouth, not from vocab. Like this, the things that you're presenting is pages you got from vocab. We heard it before.
Yeah, and even vocab wouldn't say that we came from Freemasonry.
I know, right. Even the devil is smart enough not to say that.
Hi, vocab.
Hi, vocab. Okay, so now let's keep going on this video. We're gonna play because what I'm gonna do right here is show you guys some of what he's saying on his video to what he's saying to me in our debate, and show you guys how he actually believes what we believe privately, but publicly he's professing something else. That's called a hypocrite. Let's go.
No worries. The people of the one West camp, the one that actually started it.
Now he does have a speech impediment. Don't laugh at the brother. Moses had it, so just deal with it. But when he's doing his videos, that's more of a controlled environment. There's no pressure, so you won't really hear him studying on his YouTube channel. So let's go. So he asks me, let me tell you guys how disingenuous this is. This little phone debate we had was 2 years ago. He asked me who was the leader, where did One West come from, and I told him. Then 2 years later, he came out and lied and said One West comes from Crowdy and Cherry. Yeah, what about him?
You know their names?
Yeah, Abba Bivens. He's the one who.
Abba.
Yeah.
Abba A-B-B-A.
Yeah, Abba Bivens. Abba
Bivens?
Abbabivens, and he's the one who.
Okay.
He also wrote a book. He woke up into the truth about the early '60s. He wrote a book. He wrote a few books. The 50s. And then he started the school, I believe, in 1968. One West. And then from him. So correction on that. The Abba Bivens fruit started One West, I believe. But still, that's where we come from.
In Harlem, in Harlem, this is when this.
Yeah.
This is where this occurs.
Yeah.
Okay. That's so. I believe that this whole a part of this movement was started by our enemies to. So there's a whole agenda that Satan has against this truth, and he has come against it in many different forms, many different ways. And so, I believe that the enemy has planted in, he's given the truth, but not given it, and the way that he's allowed the truth, but there's other parts to it that take away the power of it. And I don't think that there's enough power in all these groups. There's no power. I don't think there's enough power, which is why there's people are able to label it hate groups and all these other things.
What do you mean by power?
Spiritual power, if So I see.
I think he's saying that we don't have any spiritual power in the camps, as if he's going around pulling people out of wheelchairs.
I'm gonna read a verse real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna put it on the screen.
But real quick though, you said he told me he believes. This was 2 years ago.
Exactly.
I believe that they could have been masonry, and but I just can't prove it. And shut up. Go ahead.
Exactly. This is Sirach 3:24 in the GNT. Many people have been misled by their own opinions. Their wrong ideas have warped their judgment. Or in the King James, it says, for many are deceived by their own vain opinion. Well, I believe that. There are people that could believe in, there's something called Pastafarianism, not Rastafarianism, Pastafarianism. You know what Pastafarianism is? It's the belief that God is a flying spaghetti monster. Who cares what they believe? Just because they believe it doesn't give any credibility to it. So you, without showing any evidence of what you believe and presenting it as if it's true and factual, and then when we actually examine it, you get found out to be a liar and a hypocrite, is very bad.
Okay, let's keep going.
I see a formation, and I see a wonderful thing. Like when I see like IUIC, I see these brothers in there, and
that's
and
not
developing
power.
Communities and no, but no. You see, let me finish because I see these things. I believe it. I love those things, but it's that is.
He just said he loves IUIC. This was 2 years ago. Now they're just the devil. Go ahead, decide what.
So you're telling me this isn't powerful right here? Shout out to IUIC. We disagree on certain things. Can you get 400 or 500 black men and Hispanic men together like this to do anything that you say? I was almost said something wild, but you're telling me this isn't powerful? All these brothers that repented and keeping God's commandments. This isn't powerful? I want you to get 10 people that will march down the street with you. That's what I want you to do. Go get 10 bugged out niggas, and and
then 8 white, 6 white women, 1 Asian woman.
For real, yeah.
And then 3 black women.
A wonderful thing, but the actual
that's power. It takes power to get 10,000 niggas together and have them stop smoking weed and selling dope and killing each other. That's spiritual power.
This will be the truth that the Israelites represent. But the Hebrew Israelites are Vanessa. And what they have done is they have presented the truth on a garbage can lid and has made the truth seem poisonous, dangerous, not enticing, and not possibly anything to do with the truth.
Not enticing. What scripture comes to mind? Isaiah 30:20? Or Isaiah 30:10, actually. Speak to us smooth things. Yeah. God said, our people loved false prophets because they taught enticing things, smooth things. The prophets were harsh and taught Jeremiah 28:8, evil, mourning, wickedness, destruction. And then in Matthew 11, Hassad, where we don't got to read it, but when Yahushua said, I have piped unto you when you have not danced. Our people were not put here to accept the message. He wants us to go through the wide gate. You guys aren't getting enough people. We need the wide gate. That's what he's complaining about. You're shunning. People are going to be shunned away by the message. We're not going to be the wide gate. I was going to say
you like what it sounds like is you think that you have a big YouTube channel and now that makes you powerful.
Yeah.
You think that that's what power is, brother? A YouTube channel?
And therefore, it is something that should just be avoided. Let me explain a little bit more. There is an overall truth that the Hebrew Israelites represent. They are seen to be the poster child of this truth. And therefore, if you believe it, you must be tied to them and a part of them. That truth being that the Negroes scattered around the Americas, the Caribbean, Africa,
he's jealous.
Asia, all around the world.
He's jealous of us.
The true descendants of Israel and are just a fulfillment of the prophetic curses our father, Yahuwah, promised Israel when he made a covenant with them. All the countries where I have driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land.
Watch this lie, Hassad.
Jeremiah chapter 23, verses 3 through 8. And I'm just being thorough. I talk about this many times. And so this end time truth that those who live biblically aligned to the word, this is what we are waiting for and preparing for and trusting in Yahweh to do. And he will do it.
He just lied. 100,000 people saw his video. He just lied aside and said Jeremiah 23 verse 3-8 is for anybody who's aligned with God. But Jeremiah 23 says in his days, Judah will be saved and Israel will dwell safely. He just lied and said anybody who aligns with God, this is them. And you were oh my goodness.
You see, the main difference with Christians, which is why I am not one, is that they will ignore all of this.
Yes, you
and
are.
Tell you to not believe in this. Important for all believers in this world. Because of them, the overall truth is rejected and not understood, and pretty much rejected by all. Because it means that if you believe this truth, you must be tied to these Israelites on the corners. So like with me, though I know this truth, and I honestly think I understand it more deeply than the majority of these camps, because I never hear them explain this real history.
Bro, you just said you have deeper understanding than the camps. When I'm about to play just a little bit of a debate we had where you didn't know, you conceded, and we're just absolutely confounded. That's not even a brag to me. I could be low level, whatever, but you're definitely lower than that.
We got sisters in Genesis. We got the Genesis sisterhood that'll have you questioning, is this book even real?
Shout out to the sisters in that Genesis. All praises. Let's keep going.
Even though what I believe has nothing to do with them or their influence, I always must explain that I am not associated with them. Because this is what the agenda is about, whether they know it or not. Because if you all see them as the major representation of the truth, you will never really feel that you need to understand that truth. And it will keep you back from the overall truth of what our Father has said and what he prophesied he would do in the last days. The truth is being presented on a garbage can. Here's something important to understand. The Hebrew Israelites, though they understand this major truth about who they actually are, they did not receive it through the revelation from our Father. Our Father said he would awaken the dry bones. When he does anything, it comes from peace and love and pure reverence.
Oh, my God.
When God does it, the same God that killed the whole world and only left 8 people, exactly. He does anything through Dookie Dollars. Look at Dookie.
It's so soft. It doesn't. You're supposed to be loving and nice and feely good. This is something. My bad.
No, go ahead.
And there was something I wanted to say. I forgot it. But it reminds me of Judges chapter 13. And in Judges 13, here's what it was. He says it's supposed to come from a revelation of God. So Truthunedited. One day you were asleep or you were staring at the ceiling and God said, Hey, nigga, you're an Israelite. Stop eating pork. Is that what you're telling me? Is that what's supposed to happen? I'll read Judges 13 momentarily because I know that he wants to talk about the Gentiles. So I'll just hold off on it.
Yeah, I'm just showing you guys how much of a hypocrite he is. He just did this video a few days ago talking about love and all this and don't hate. But I'm gonna show you guys. He admits that God hates Edomites. Watch.
That's not what we see from the Israelites. The truth is that the foundation of the Hebrew Israelite camps that are what the masses know today, they were not awakened by Yahweh, but they were actually put out by the enemy in anticipation of our Father's prophecy. They were brought to the knowledge of the truth through Masonic ties that lead back to Satanism. And because the foundation is off, if you come from this foundation, your root is tainted, which is why they were sent in the first place.
Pause.
Anyways, the current groups and camps today that we know are the Hebrew Israelites, the foundation that they were built upon stems from Freemasonry, which is why they understand our Father through hate, and they are unable to see it. So let me get back. And speaking on general terms about the Hebrew Israelites, what is clear is that they have many doctrines that are built upon hate because of false understanding that are taught to them that are rooted from the foundation that they were started upon. The biggest one is who they are taught Esau is. And then because of it, they have developed a justified doctrine of hate based upon skin color, actually reversing the same ignorance our oppressors used against us. They reject the other nations and therefore preach and teach that Gentiles have no acceptance into the kingdom, and therefore Gentiles cannot be saved.
Now watch this, y'all. I'm finna go to a clip where he says Gentiles will be under us, serving us in slavery, and even Edomites can't get saved. But of course, he's not going to say that and mess up his dollar, his dookie dollars on his channel.
You guys, he said we're Satanists. You guys heard him? He said these guys go back to Freemasonry, which goes back to Satanism. He's saying we're Satanists. Why is he saying you guys are Satanists? Well, because we're not the best of friends with white people. That's what it really boils down to. We're not best friends with white people, therefore you worship the devil. That's what he's telling you.
Okay, let's go.
Promoting a doctrine of rebellion and rejection of the Most High. They use a fake chart that has made most minorities in America and the Caribbean descendants of Israel.
Most minorities. We only got 3 groups of people on here: Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. Another lie.
Everyone, basically. That's a minority.
Everyone. Now watch this.
He has created all of mankind. But so I don't believe that he hates his whole creation. I believe that he
hates Esau, though, right?
Creation. Well, he hates Esau.
Okay, so
the thing about Esau.
He's a hypocrite, bro. He's a hypocrite. Like, this is why I'm so glad, even though this video is not on YouTube anymore, I looked for it. I got it. It's going on my Patreon, the whole beatdown. But anyway, he's a hypocrite, bro. Like, their doctrine is rooted in hate. It's not of Yahuwah love, but you admit he hates Esau.
No, here's what it is. And here's because you're what I gotta be very careful how I say this. You're, I guess we'll say raccoon. I think I can say raccoon, right?
Yeah.
Your raccoon radar tingles whenever you hear us talk about white people. See, we're not a hate group at all. We're talking about loving black people. We're telling black people and Hispanic people to stop making songs about killing each other, degrading their women, and selling drugs to each other. That's love. Then when we talk about the crimes that have been committed against us for the past 500 years and how God is going to, and I'm so happy God don't think like you, because if God thought like you, we would never get justice. And
no, Hassad. He thinks like us.
Oh, really?
He's just lying to his. Yes, he told me that there is an ethnic hierarchy. We're not equal to Gentiles. They're going to serve us in the kingdom. God hates Esau. He's just saying we're jumping the gun and doing it too early, and that is going to happen when. So he does think like us. He's just lying for his channel and Christian audience. Watch. Let me keep playing.
But the thing about Esau is Esau pledges themselves like. So when we go to the, I don't know what Sakari says. Do you go with the Esau as just the white man? Is that what you said?
By the way, this was when I was in Sakari. I am not. Hey, never.
Stop. You gotta relax. No.
But a disclaimer though, this was when I was in Sakari. We are Genesis, not Sakari, not affiliated in any way. So let's keep going. Well, it doesn't really matter who we say they are. We know that these are a race of people that God hates.
Matter. No, it does matter because there are many groups that basically just say the white man is Esau. And
I know, but I'm saying, according to the Bible, whoever the Edomites are, God said he hates them and there won't be any remaining. So how can you go around teaching they can get salvation?
Well, I don't, because I don't teach that they can get salvation. I teach that.
What? That's how you put a nigga in the chokehold, Hassad. He just said he does not teach that Edomites can get salvation. I don't care if he thinks they're Arab, green, white, or red. There's a distinct ethnic people group that he says is excluded out of salvation, but he goes to his channel and teaches universal inclusivism.
That's hate. Sir, you are a bigot. That's what you are, Truthunedited. You are a bigot, sir.
All right, let's keep going.
People can choose to come to Yah and believe in Messiah, and if they and anyone that decides that they are going to follow and obey our Messiah follow our Torah and live amongst us as Yah have commanded, why would you believe that Yah is going to completely reject them just because he made them born in another group of people? It makes absolutely no sense.
Okay.
So he said, "Live amongst us." So a white man's supposed to say, "All right, listen, Shirley, we're gonna have to move from wherever and go to Detroit. We got to move to Detroit. We got to move next to Jamal and Tyrone, and we got to help these guys out. They're the Hebrews." That's unbelievable.
Charles, who told you that? Click the link.
He's given everyone. He's given every. I'm the official. The one thing that he's given us is choice. And so, if a person chooses to forsake the line of their ancestors, chooses to forsake the sins of their ancestors, and says, whatever it is, I'm going to choose Yah, and they have lost their family because of it. They've lost jobs because there are many testimonies I hear. And it's not just a white man. It's Ethiopians. There's a lot in Africa that are Hamites. They all are going through the same thing. And so,
Esau was
I do not
completely
believe,
rejected, though. According to the Bible, it says that the Edomites are completely rejected. That's Hebrews chapter 12, verse 17. For you know that afterwards, when he would have inherited a blessing, he was rejected. So God did reject all of the Edomites.
So yes, and so then the history of them is something that absolutely needs to be covered. So because there's not a part of our ministry that let me just clarify that in my research, based off how I have understood that after the time of Messiah. Edom, they were in Judah. They ruled over Judah with their fake kings or whatever, Herod and all that. So they did, after Judah was destroyed and the people were forced to leave, they did go north and they dwelt and mixed in with the Khazarians. And so when you look at history, they call those people over there Edom. They make references to Edom in that land specifically, not all of Europe, but those Khazarians. And so, nothing about my ministry, or anything deals with any of those people except exposing them.
Pause. What is he talking about? He just
said that the Edomites are now the Khazarians, who are now the Jewish people in the land, and he said that his ministry doesn't even reach out to them, but he'll tell me this on the phone, but on his channel, he'll say all the Gentiles need to be pre-salvation too.
Yeah. And I know the brother has a stutter, so I'm not about to make fun of his stutter, but he's talking and then it's like, he's going here and he's like, oh, wait, I don't know.
He's stuttering extra. No, he has a little stutter, right, but he's getting hacksaw Jim Duggins. I'm re-triggering.
Right. And he's again, the point that Deacon presented to you was you're calling us hateful, etc. You believe that the Edomites, according to the Bible, don't receive salvation and that they will be destroyed as well.
And then God hates them.
About he starts malfunctioning. He starts to short circuit, and then he starts talking about where these niggas moved into Europe. What? We didn't ask you that. Hey, I didn't ask you that. Hiya, Tom. He didn't ask you that, man. You started talking about where these people moved into Europe, where he's asking you to address about them not getting salvation. Truth unedited.
Truth edited. I want to just say a couple things on your video. So
okay, good.
When we spoke about the stranger, I want to backtrack just a little bit. We spoke about the stranger, and I asked, is being able to enslave them mistreating them, or being able to commit usury on them, which is oppression, mistreating them? And I didn't get a clear answer on the usury part, but you did speak on the enslaved part, and you said, "Oh, it's not like this modern sense of slavery." You didn't say it verbatim like that, but I believe that was your sentiments, right? So you said that they could leave, and it was different. It's like employees. So I just want to read this because it's not that I'm angry. Of course, I'm angry at the white man. I would. Why wouldn't I be angry at the white man? But do I go around all day like me mugging and all of that? No, I take care of my family. I thank God for good health and the house and the substance that we do have and the brothers in the community and the wives and kids that we have. And I enjoy my leisure to my best ability within the parameters of keeping Torah. So I'm not just going around, in a heart full of hate. My theology is based off of what the scriptures say. So in Leviticus chapter 25 verses 46, it says, "And you shall take them as an inheritance." That means they're your property for your children after you. So you said that they can leave, but Yah is saying they can't leave, that you can pass them down to your children. That is literally the definition. If we're gonna just go by definition, that's literally the definition of chattel slavery. So it says to, and I'm just reading. I'm gonna read it, and I'll give it. I'm gonna read it. I'll give it right to you. It says to inherit them for a possession. Okay, so it says to inherit them for a possession. They shall be your bondmen forever. That means they can't leave. But over your brethren, the children of Israel, you shall not rule over one another with rigor. So the Father is saying we can take these other nations as slaves, pass them down to your children, have them for a possession as property forever, but we cannot, and he's saying that this is rigorous ruling, but we cannot rule over our brothers, our Israelite brothers, like this. So how is this loving our neighbors like loving ourselves?
So I'm going to ask you if you can just I think I'm losing what it is that you're trying to. Are you talking in reference to them oppressing us, or are you talking about with us?
No, I was going back to your video. Them? I was going back to the video where you were saying that how we should treat strangers according to your understanding of Leviticus 19. So I'm saying if your understanding is correct and we shouldn't mistreat them, is this a form of mistreatment that Yah is allowing us to take them as slaves forever? They can't leave, and we get to rule over them with rigor.
Wow.
You and your bondman.
This is the guy who said that he knows more than all these camps.
That are bound to you, and then
this is the guy who said he knows more than all the camps. This is why you got to be humble, bro. Just because you got 7,000 subscribers, of course they're going to let you get that. You're teaching Christianity. They're not going to let the truth get that. But you got to bring your humility down. Most High will use somebody to humble your ass. Silence of the lambs. Let's keep going. Nigga had to read it by time.
Over the children of the strangers who sojourn among you. You shall be by and of their families are with you. They shall be in your land. They shall be your possession. And you shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you to inherit them for a position. You shall be a bondman forever. But over your children, you shall not rule another. You shall not rule over one another with rigor. So you're asking me if is having them as our possession, or is that love? Is it? I told you I believe that is going to be the case.
Okay, so do you believe that there's an ethnic hierarchy? Wait, he just said this for all you white Christians who might come over here or watch this video. He just said about the Israelites being able to take Gentiles captives. He said he believes that's the case. And then he's going to say it's going to happen when we get to Israel.
Let me read this definition real quick.
Go ahead.
Chattel slavery is a system where humans are treated as property, bought, sold, and owned like livestock, and with no ability to refuse or gain freedom. That is literally what Leviticus 25 is describing. And he's saying that's going to happen in the future. White Christians, Asian Christians, Indian Christians, Arab Christians that follow his channel or whatever. He believes in the future he's going to be
going in chains.
That's what he believes for you.
No, see, now, like I said, he's not really a raccoon because behind closed door in private, he agrees with us. What he really is just a hypocrite, but he got to go get his bread. So
he's a wolf in raccoon's clothing.
Yeah, exactly. He's really probably more grimier than us. Really, he's really a nigga that might have a couple Edomites already in chains. But nah, I'm joking. He can never be. I'm a field nigga. He's a house nigga. But he does share our same understanding and theology, but he won't say it publicly because his audience and he needs that pave. Free paper on the flow. Let's keep going.
Or is that love? I told you I believe that is going to be the case.
Okay, so do you believe that there's an ethnic hierarchy between Israelites and strangers, or are we equal?
I believe that when he brings us into our land and he brings us into the kingdom, I believe that there is a hierarchy. What I think there is a problem because he makes our life better.
So do you think? What about the law of no interracial marriages? Watch this, y'all.
I don't agree. I don't agree with interracial marriage.
Okay, so but you teach what if bro, you're on your channel talking all of this. The camps are dividing. The camps are rejecting. The camps won't let all nations come in, but you said it's against God's laws to interracial marry.
You're a hater, sir. That's what you are. You hate. You got hate in your heart. And what you need to do is let it out. Just let it out. If you got hate in your heart, let it out.
Oh my God!
So we're hateful. You're not hateful, but Sally, a white woman named Sally, could come up to you and say, "Man, I really find you attractive. I want to be with you." And you say, "No, why not? Because you're white." That's not hateful.
God's law says you're white. Man, hypocrite, bro. Hypocrite.
You're white, and in the future, we're going to enslave your people. Oh, wait, matter of fact, you're an Edomite, so you're going to be destroyed. But that's not hatred.
Let's keep going. If wanted to follow the Messiah and the Israelites and keep Torah, but they wanted to marry an Israelite woman, what would you say?
I mean, as far as what I would say, I don't like the mixing of the nations. That is. So
you'll tell them no. It is not you'll say no. You can't do it.
But here's the thing, and that's what I'm trying to say. I can give my opinion, and somebody can ask me, "What do I think of it?" But for me to say no, you cannot do this. Like,
can you give a law on it?
Lawgiver. I'm not.
But is there a law on it?
Yes, there is a law. Yes.
Right.
So this in this age, at this time, I think you're missing my point because this is what I would say. I say you make your decisions. You do what you feel, and if that is what you're deciding to do, and the end of the day,
imagine somebody saying, "I'm thinking about breaking the law of God." And I say, I don't tell you to stop. I tell you do what you feel.
Right. Hey, man.
And you
Hey, I'm thinking about being, imagine somebody comes up to this guy. I'm thinking about liking little boys. Well, hey, man, each his own. What you want to do.
Right. That's what the Christian church will have you. You'll be laxed on God's law.
When Yah calls us, you're based on your decisions. It's your life. But you need to mix it. Like my point is that none of us, we are not a judge of anyone at this point right here.
We're not. But why would we say? But why would we say, "Hey, there's a law on this. You shouldn't." Yah said it's not Ron saying don't do it. There's a law on it. Yah said don't do it. Why would we say, "Hey, just do whatever you feel," and then when the Messiah comes back, we'll see if you were right or wrong. The law already said he was wrong.
Yeah, no, but because people are responsible for their own selves. I'm not responsible for people. I tell them what the word says. I tell them how I feel about it. But I am not responsible. Are
you a leader of a congregation?
I mean, yes, I'm a leader. Yes, absolutely.
So you are
And so,
responsible. If you're a shepherd, you're responsible for your sheep. Have you done a video? Have you done a video saying that those Jews and the Jewish people in the land of Israel are the fake Jews?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I walked down the history of it, because it's something that I document these things so people can really understand exactly what is the deal, you know. But
I'm not asking you this in any disrespect, but is your wife
yeah.
Your wife is a Gentile?
No, my wife is a beautiful black. She's darker skinned than me. You know, like I have a black family, bro. I went to in my time I was at HBCU. I never had dealings with a white woman, like or any of them. Like I've only liked black women. Like,
look, when I asked him that question, he started going into disdain for the white woman.
No dealings. No
dealings. They're not attractive, but they're gonna go on his channel and talk all this crazy inclusion.
We're all beautiful. We are the world, basically.
my women. That's all I know.
All I know. So when you mentioned the Messiah, do you believe that in the kingdom of heaven, when we read Revelation, because you know the red letter, of course, is dealing with the words of the Messiah, right? So in Revelation 2:26, the Messiah speaking, he says, "And he that overcomes and keeping my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations." So do you believe that this is the Israelites getting power over the nations?
At that time, I believe it absolutely, yes.
Okay. So verse 27 says, "And he," and do you believe that you'll be a part of the ones getting power over the nations?
Yes.
Okay, so it says,
I look forward to it.
Okay, all praises. So it says, "And he, which will be you, shall." He looks forward to ruling and oppressing other nations, but we're the hateful ones. Hypocrite, bro.
Let's see if we're like, don't say it, but let's see if you he basically what he's saying is in the kingdom he wants to whip heathens until what until what, dude? Let's see if you know.
Until can't see center.
No.
Until what?
Nothing. Never mind. Until
now rule. Until what?
Them
with the rod of iron. So Brother Ron's gonna get an iron rod, and then it says this: "As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers." So that means Brother Ron's gonna get power from the Messiah to rule over these other nations and beat the hell out of them with an iron rod. Is this a part of the gospel message?
So let me.
I asked the question.
Let me put it in this way, in these terms,
because I want to know if you're ready to beat the hell out of the other nations, like the Messiah said he's going to give you that promise.
So I will say this, and I can say this in the best way I can say that I understand exactly. When his time comes and when he brings us in his kingdom, I look forward to those that actually survive this fallen world or whatever it is. I look forward to I guess the judgment of my enemies.
So he looks forward to getting that iron rod and beating the hell out of the other nations, but got the nerve to talk about camp doctrine. Crazy work. It's about to get worse. It's about to get worse. But let me let's have a quick little commercial. I ain't played my commercial in so long. Before we give the death blow. And you know what? We're gonna go over and look at his part 3 too. Part 3 just dropped today. We're gonna go and guys
dropped 1 minute ago.
Oh, he's trying to step on my work. We're gonna play a commercial. We're gonna play the death blow, and we're gonna go over to his part 3. Sign up to all my YouTube pages, y'all. Priest Genesis Mode on the road to 40K subscribers. All praises, y'all.
Genesis.
Big G's, not the little ones. Also sign up to PTE Godcast. PTE Godcast. Make sure y'all go subscribe. Subscribe to PTE Godcast, where we push the envelope.
Say it again. Say it.
We got our street. You're going to see a lot of my street ministry on Genesis Seattle. That's where we are located. Me specifically, but we're everywhere. We're everywhere. Make sure y'all tap in to Genesis Israelite Seattle. We got Deacon Tunes, where a lot of my early releases on my music will be on. Sign up to Deacon Tunes, y'all. All praises. In the new channel, another new channel, we got Bigot Pigs. Bigot Pigs is a channel where we're going in on, basically the cops and how they give the white man the white privilege and absolutely unalive the black and brown man for doing the same thing that the white man did.
That's right.
My Patreon. Make sure y'all sign up to that Patreon, y'all. We got exclusive content and early releases on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Deacon Genesis, y'all. Support the ministry. Kwam Yasharala. Make sure you register and enroll to the Genesis Varsity Online Academy, specializing in Hebrew apologetics. We will be on YouTube doing some responses and commentaries, pre-recorded videos, but the hands-on academics and scholarships, extensive and exhaustive breakdowns will be in the Genesis Varsity Online Academy. Email me, deacon@genesis144.com. PTE. With your position, you say that we don't need to have hate towards the nations, we don't need to be racist toward the nations, and that the strangers can join in with the covenant, join into the covenant, and also receive salvation. I'm familiar with your position, but I believe that maybe some scriptures are being either ignored, not intentionally, maybe obliviously. Because so you mentioned like the stranger, and I don't think that was the first scripture you went to. It could have been in Leviticus 19, and you mentioned the stranger. It says don't mistreat the stranger. And so what we have found in studying and taking on these type of discussions, particularly about the old covenant strangers, we see that there's two different types of strangers in the Torah. There's the actual non-Israelite stranger, then there's the Israelite stranger. And so it's very important that we decipher and know contextually when it's talking about either one, because the verse you read, it says don't mistreat a stranger. Now, if we take that to mean non-Israelite, what about the other verses that says you can commit usury on a stranger, which is an oppressive type of interest, or it says you can enslave you can enslave the stranger forever, like Leviticus 25, or it says in Deuteronomy 23, the strangers of the Ammonites and the Moabites can never enter the congregation. And then
and then they destroyed those. I mean, but back to that verse, though, it says, "For you were strangers in Egypt." We've held that. We held that position. We just as we are right now. We're strangers in this forsaken land. We are oppressed in a land that is not ours, that we're strangers in. And so, as you said, the two different types. I mean, he very clearly kind of made sure he knew that the position that we were in, we don't want to. We were already there, so we don't do it to them. But I mean, he definitely clearly had. He definitely clearly had tribes that, that were a no-no, and that he claimed judgment against, and so I don't knock that. I don't knock any of that. It's just that.
So would you say that
the time period?
Would you say that the Messiah, not the Messiah, would you say that the Father saying that we could oppress and rule over strangers with rigor is mistreating them?
So at this point, I don't. So there's certain words like when you use, like when you say enslave. When I hear enslave, or in reference to how Yah had his standards, I don't tie it in the same way as these white people how they enslaved us. When I see servants, when I see them as servants, I see them as how they treat us today in this current way as employees. We are servants to these masters. We work for them. We are bound to them, which is why I focus on making sure my family is not bound to these people whatsoever. I don't look at it. I don't believe that we were enslaving them because they were able to leave if they were able to come off if they chose, or we were able to take some of our Israelite brothers and sisters, or not sisters, but take them in as bond servants. And so I don't look at it in the same way. When that word enslave it can come across differently depending on how you're using
right,
and so
in the modern sense.
I don't apply it in that sense, and so I do believe that I do believe that when we come into the kingdom, that there are going to be many from other nations that serve us, and I totally believe that. I don't believe that it's our point right now of that. I think that my position is a very simple one. If you were to say it's simple.
We're jumping the gun. According to him, we're jumping the gun, and he believes that when we get into the kingdom, these other nations are going to come in there and serve us. But he's a hypocrite. So I'm gonna put the whole video link, this whole phone debate in the description box. I want to take a look at his. He probably dropped methodically right now because we was going in on him. Let's take a look at this. Fair use is going to be our thoughts and comments on this content.
Part 2 of this series about the Hebrew Israelites.
Let's take a look at the chat. Look at this. Yahuwah. Look at all these Yahuwahites. So many Yahuwahites. Let's play some of it.
You have to go into the history of how this group was created. When you understand the history and you see the foundation, you can understand where these influences come from and why certain things that you're seeing are the way they are. The organized groups of the Hebrew Israelites have nothing to do with Bible prophecy and the awakening of the dry bones. It was a controlled awakening by Masonic puppets that have placed themselves as a foundation of truth that was put in place to control the narrative.
Hassad, you got some good timestamps or no?
No.
All right, I'm gonna let you.
I think, is this a re-upload of the?
No, it's a 3-part series. Oh, so look at this. Oh, look what it says. The Masonic trail that leads to Abba Bivens. So he's gonna lie after we just covered this. He's gonna lie and try to say Abba Bivens goes back to one of these guys through the commandment keepers, literally. So go ahead. You got control of it.
Go to like 28 minutes and we could just go from there. That's when he starts talking about Elder Bivens.
Okay.
Happened at that point. Now, let me just make a note that I'm leaving out the history of the other Israelite churches like Israel of God with Henry Bowie because it leads me in a different direction. They all stem from that same foundation, but I'm not going to go deep into that because it's not what people know today as Hebrew Israelites. And so what I'm trying to do is explain what people see on these street corners and where it comes from. So we will jump to the fourth wave, which is about this current time period of the 21st century and what everyone primarily understands Hebrew Israelites to be.
Hey guys, I'm Nick, the owner of Freedom Boat Club. I'm Keith, the membership executive, and we...
Dang.
But in order to do this, we must go back in time. You see, the third wave was not really about what was going on in New York, but more so about in the Midwest. But in the 1980s and the 90s, we saw a reinvigorated movement in Harlem amongst the Hebrew Israelites. The new leaders took much influence from the militant and Afrocentric evolution of the Israelites in the Midwest, and in Harlem, a new form of Israelites emerged. They became much more confrontational and increasingly confident in the public. This was also due to the Masonic influence of the Nation of Islam. The founding father of this change was a man named Edward Meredith Bibbins, 1896 to 1972, aka Abba Bibbins. Bibbins was born in Philadelphia. Now look, Philadelphia is a place I really have to research more because there's so much influence that stems from this city. It truly is a Masonic city, which is obviously why they call it the city of brotherly love. But anyone who has visited that city can see the Masonic influence spread all around there. But there truly is a dark spiritual presence in Philadelphia that seems to be the mecca of all change in the United States. Anyways, Bibbins, him and his wife moved to New York sometime between 1940 and 1946, and they joined the Commandment Keepers. Remember, I told you to remember the Commandment Keepers from Matthew.
He's already wrong. Bibbins was from the South, so he's already wrong. Dang it.
Commandment Keepers. Remember, I told you to remember the Commandment Keepers from Matthew. If you remember from the second wave, Prince Hall Mason Wentworth Matthew created his organization called Commandment Keepers in New York. Abba Bibbins' influence started from this Masonic foundation, which is why I have repeatedly stated that the foundation of the Hebrew Israelites was founded on the foundation of Prince Hall Freemasonry.
So why did he break away from them, idiot?
He knew he was he had his teachings before he met these guys. He believed in the New Testament. He teaches Esau, America, Babylon. They don't teach that. So how is his influence from this Masonic foundation, from the Commandment Keepers? That's a lie.
So let's be clear that this connection has been proven. Abba Bibbins was a part of Commandment Keepers, which was a Masonic organization. But let me keep going so I can explain further. The only known writing of Abba Bibbins, bearing his own name and that of his son, William Henry, is the book Marks of a Lost Race. It was self-published in the 1940s as a guide to the 45 million people in America and the British West Indies called Negroes. Bibbins added to Wentworth Matthews' teachings, but he added a conclusion that all whites descended from Esau. And this false teaching right here has been a foundation of a justification of hate that is prevalent within the Hebrew Israelite communities to this day, which is why this man right here can say a wicked statement like this and feel proud about it.
Do the Israelites hate white people? No, but God does. There's a common misconception in the Bible that God loves everybody, but that's simply not true or biblical. In the Bible, God only loves one nation of people, the Israelites. Let's read it. Blessed be the Lord thy God, which delighted in thee to set thee on the throne of Israel, because the Lord loved Israel forever. So what about God hating white people? Let's examine who the European man is according to the Bible. Esau is the so-called Caucasian man or white man. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. We don't have any personal animosity towards Esau, but God does.
And I do. I absolutely do.
What did he say wrong in that? He said that it's a foolish statement to say that. It's
Yeah,
a
to
foolish
say-
statement to read the Bible.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You're on record saying that you hate Esau. Brother Ron, Truth Unedited. Here goes the hypocrisy.
This is not people speaking from Yah. This is people speaking from indoctrinated views that come from men that they were indoctrinated and influenced by that they don't even know about.
He just read the Bible, though.
Or maybe they do. I don't know these people to say what they know or what they don't know. Now, there is no record of Bibbins as a Freemason. There's actually not a lot known about him at all. But based upon his book, we know that he knew of Freemasonry, and it's easy to draw the conclusion that he was a Mason because of the knowledge that he had. But here's the thing that I personally do not like making conclusions that have not been proven. So though I do assume he was a Mason based upon his connections to Matthew.
I have no evidence of him being a Mason, but I just kind of feel like he is one because he knew one. You know how stupid that is? Are you a drug addict because you have an uncle who's a drug addict or a friend who's a drug addict?
What if your friends are your uncle's a homosexual?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't have any proof of him, but you know, his
uncle's one. Oh my God, man.
And what within the contents of Marks of a Lost Race does he? Matter of fact, do we have the PDF of that?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Mm-hmm. But if we got it, you know he's got it. So he's not going to point anything out from it because there's nothing in there that ties back to Freemasonry.
Well, what I would like to do is hit the Control F thing, and we can search the word Mason throughout the book. And let's see what he says. And if in fact the word Mason is in the book, I don't want to bet, but he's likely going to be going against them.
Okay, let's go. Let's pull up the book. Let's pull up the book right here. Okay, I got it right here. So I'm gonna pull up Abba Bivens' book, Marks of a Lost Race. You guys see it? Okay, that's it right there. We're gonna look in here and see if he said something about Satanism and Masonry. Hey, look, I skim read it. I could be wrong. So what do you want me to do? Look and see. Control F. Let's type in Mason.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Oh, nothing?
Nothing. Let's type in Satan. Devil? Wait, hold on. Maybe it's not. Let me see. It might not be letting me word search because it's a PDF. But what? No. Let me see. Search this page right here. Okay. Right here?
We can do Lodge too. Like Masonic Lodge.
Yeah, I don't think it's letting me. No.
It's not letting you do it?
I don't think so. No help for the dying world of Gentiles. This is a good read too. Really good read. Those of you who come from the One West variety, make sure you read Abba Bivens' work.
No, so I got it right here. Yeah, Mason does not appear in the book, at least not in the first 39 pages. Let's see, free. Let's see if the word free pops up. Yep, pops up 50 times. Let's look up free Mason. Nope. Let's look up. What did Jared say? Yeah, I did. I word searched to check. So Lodge. Let's look up Lodge. Lodge does not appear.
So he never taught us to join the lodge.
Degree. Wow. Degree does not appear. Okay. What else can we look up? Ritual. Nope. It's just ridiculous, man. Apron. They wear the aprons. Nope. Okay. Gloves. They wear the glove. Nope, not there. Jesuit. Let's look at the word Jesuit. Jesuit's not there. Okay. Christian.
What order or right?
Order.
Truth Unedited just got to come get with us, bro. You know, we'll show you what's going on, brother. Let's play a little bit more. Hold on, I want to rewind.
Or maybe this is not people they were indoctrinated and influenced by that they don't even know about, or maybe they do. I don't know these people to say what they know or what they don't know. Now, there is no record of Bibbins as a Freemason. There's actually not a lot known about him at all. But based upon his book, we know that he knew of Freemasonry, and it's easy to draw the conclusion that he was a Mason because of the knowledge that he had. But here's the thing that I do. I personally do not like making conclusions that have not been proven. So though I do assume he was a Mason based upon his connections to Matthew, as Matthew was very much about bringing people into his Masonic lodge. And the fact that Bibbins had Masonic knowledge that he should not have had unless he was a Mason. As I try to remain credible, I cannot cite that he was a Mason, but I do reject him being that he knew of Freemasonry and the lodge, and in his writings, he spoke nothing against it.
Wait, what?
So, okay, let me see. Maybe because I'm trying to, maybe the PDF thing is making it to where you can't word search it. So, because he sounds pretty sure that he spoke about Freemasonry. So I'm trying to skim through it and see if I can find the word Mason at all. Here, I can save time. Here's what I do.
Yeah, the fact that man.
I'm not seeing anything about Masons yet. Maybe one of y'all that has it could help me out and see if there's a page where he starts talking about Freemasons. I'm not seeing the word Mason. I'm gonna give it 30 seconds. If I can't find it, then we're moving straight on. Nope, nothing about Masons. Nothing about Masons. And he made a crazy point. Well, he didn't speak against it. So does that mean in every work that I do, I have to speak against liking young children or being a part of the LGBTQ community? And if I don't speak out against it in everything that I do, that I'm co-signing? That's so ridiculous, man. What a let's see. I'm still not saying anything. Why is it not letting me do the that's really interesting. It's not letting me do the word search. Hold on one second. There's only 39 pages, so okay, let's try this one more time. Yeah, it doesn't let me do it. That's really weird. Yeah, I don't see anything about Freemasonry at all.
Yeah, oh, too, y'all. This Sunday. Look at this. It's this Sunday. Who's ready for this? Who is ready for this Sunday? Who is ready for this Sunday? The Lake of Fire is not America. This is going to be crazy, y'all. This is going to be crazy. Should I give him a little bit inside?
Maybe a little.
A little bit. This Sunday, we're out to prove emphatically and absolutely the Lake of Fire is not America. America will be destroyed by thermonuclear destruction. But the Lake of Fire is not America. Can I go a little further inside, please? I'm itching. I've been working. I got to reveal a few things. He said, tell us everything. Whew. I'm gonna tell you something about this, y'all. Somebody said change doctrine more than draws. Sheesh. Nah, not really. Not at all. Tell me what we've changed. That wasn't something we found and labored for. Something that was given to us by our elders that we just took without studying. I can see that. But something we actually critique, scrutinize, and labor for, we don't be coming up off that too often because we don't put it out unless we're absolutely for sure about it. Ugh. But yeah, y'all, the U.S. still getting the missiles for sure. It's an actual geographical location, the Lake of Fire. But I'm gonna tell you guys this: you're understanding that those who get the mark of the beast die here in America by the missiles is wrong. Your understanding about Armageddon is wrong. Your understanding about Jehoshaphat is wrong. Your understanding about the 2/3 is wrong. Nigga, you're wrong. Your understanding about Obadiah 1 and 18 is wrong. That's why y'all need to just pop out Sunday. I'm going to put the PDF in the chat. Sam and William scared to do it too. I told you Sam Shimon don't want none. Neither do these other Israelite camps want none either. Nigga, we taking all the faith. Nah, we love you guys. You know I love you. Know I love you guys. I just be talking, bro. But Fizzle, hey, I appreciate you, bro, for trying to set that 2-on-2 up. But you know, Sam Shimon, he don't want none, brother. Anyway, it's all wrong, y'all. It's all wrong. And I'm gonna put the PDF in the description box. I'm gonna put the PDF in the description box, and you guys will be able to have the bullet point presentation to read along and follow along as we give the live presentation this Sunday, of course, if it be the Lord's will. But this is nobody's gonna be able to get out of this. It's definitely trunk tight. It's trunk tight proof. All right. So let's go back here. Hassan, you got something?
I'm just reading through. Okay. The only thing that I'm finding about this is he says in his book on page 47, another fact that has caused our people to be in ignorance are these churches, namely the Catholic, Episcopal Church, Lutheran Church, Presbyterian Church, Baptist Church, Methodist Church, Seventh-day Adventist Church, and the Pentecostal, and etc. So he speaks against the church, which you can be in that church and be a Mason. I don't see anywhere where I'm scrolling through it. Someone could show me. I don't see anywhere where he starts talking about Freemasonry. I've literally skimmed through the entire book basically at this point.
She says, I don't understand if this man was a Freemason. Does all the camp? Yeah, like one thing, let me tell you guys about how hateful and evil Truth Unedited is. I haven't heard, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't heard him say one time to repent. The camps need to repent. He hates us more than the white man does. He hasn't one time said the camps need to repent. He's just saying they're Masons, they're garbage, they're hateful. God needs to destroy them. I hate them. They're disgusting. They're filthy. Not one time say repent. These brothers need to repent. So you want us to do, all right, look, we say, okay, Truth Unedited, you're correct. Then what? We join your church and start loving whitey? Okay.
Okay, here's another thing he says. He says, and these ministers are all, this is page 48, these ministers are all out to get money from his weaker brothers that he may sit down and educate his family. And it is written, Micah 3:11, the prophet divine for money. God has a great indignation against these pastors that have led our people astray. We refer you to Jeremiah 23:1. Woe be unto the funerals, the lodges, and insurances. We believe in insurances, but we believe our people should learn how to use them wisely. He says, woe to the lodges. Now, is he talking about the Masonic lodge right there? I don't know, but certainly he could be. With all the inference that this guy, Truth Unedited, did, I think that's a fair surmise. He said, woe to the lodge.
Which is why he possibly broke off, but stopped dealing with the commandment keepers. That's a cut.
You see?
Okay, let's keep going.
Oh, I think I might have found it. It says on page 51, the other article is the Negroes Lodge. When a high standard or what you call a big shot dies, they can do more marching than the United States Army with cars and band playing. By this, you'd think they were going someplace important, spending up all that money just to go to the graveyard, while old men and orphans and mistreated mothers are forgotten and put in Potter's Field without a ceremony. Now, I think he's referring to the lodge right here. I think he's talking about the Christian church. But again, he could be referring to the Masonic lodge. And
He makes fun of it right here. He is speaking out against it.
That's a cut. I mean, that's in this book, Marks of a Lost Race.
On page 51.
That's a cut, bro. Like, that's a super cut. The same guy you're saying you think is a Mason, and you say there's Masonry in his book, but you can't prove it, actually condemns Masonry in his book. God got to be against you. God has to be against you to shut your mouth just like that and confound you. Has to be.
He spoke nothing against Freemasonry. In his book,
actually, he did. Let's see.
Which I have attached in the description box on page 49 through 51, he mentions the Lodge, which is a reference to Freemasonry, the Masonic Lodge. He writes, 3 other articles we would like to point out to our people, which they foolishly idolize. They are funerals, the lodges, and insurance. On page 50, he writes,
is he that dumb?
Article
is he that slow? Read it. Go back. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't know how to read properly. Everybody, read the 3 other articles we would like to point out to our people, which they foolishly idolize. He's saying you idolizing the lodge makes you a fool. Are you that slow? Are you a fool? Truth Unedited.
Wow.
Apparently your brains needs to be edited.
Wow.
How did I miss that? Oh, it's right here. Yeah, 3 other articles we would like.
No, you did read it. You did read it.
To our people, which they foolishly idolize. They are the funerals, the lodges, and insurance. Then he says, "Yeah, we believe in insurances." This is really dumb. Put a 1 in the chat if we agree that this is really dumb.
Which they foolishly idolize. They are funerals, the lodges, and insurance. On page 50, he writes, the other article is the Negro's Lodge. When a high standard, or what you call a big shot, dies, they can do more marching than the United States Army with cars and bands playing. By this, you would think that they were going someplace important, spending up all that money just to go to the graveyard, while old men and orphans and mistreated mothers are forgotten and put in Potter's Field without a ceremony. Now, based on this is why I believe he was a Mason.
What?
He knew of Masonic terminology.
What?
When he said, when a high standard, or what you call a big shot, dies, if you understand, high standard in Masonic terminology refers to Master Mason, which is the 3rd and final degree in the symbolic lodge, which is.
Bro, I have that knowledge.
Precept.
So listen, we know the high levels of Masonry because we condemn it, we know about it, we stay away from it. So you're saying the fact that we have information about this secret society shows that we are a part of this secret society, yet we condemn it. So we're a part of it, but we're condemning it. He's bugged out.
Anyone versus 1 Timothy 6:4 and not all of this is applicable to him, but a lot of it is. 1 Timothy 6:4 in the NLT. Anyone who teaches something different is arrogant and lacks understanding. You're definitely arrogant, and you certainly lack understanding. Such a person has an unhealthy desire to quibble over the meaning of words. Well, we're going to go into what does it mean, a high standard? You're at a low standard. You need to worry about getting past the low standard that you're on and getting off the short bus that you're on. That's what you need to worry about, brother. It says, this stirs up arguments. Now here we are. Look at us. Now we have to virtually argue with you because of your own willful stupidity. It says ending in jealousy. You're jealous. Division. Now we're divided. Slander. You're slandering. You're calling people satanic Freemasons.
Yeah, no, look at that comment though. By that logic, he's a Mason because he knows what a high standard in big shot is.
Dummy. Then it says, and evil suspicions. I suspect that these guys are secretly worshiping the devil by practicing Freemasonry. These people always cause trouble. Their minds are corrupt. You're corrupt. And they have turned their backs on the truth. And we are turning our backs on the truth unedited. That's what we are doing. No, but I mean, again, not all of this is applicable to him, but this is, I mean, come on, you guys. What word should I use? Because somebody got mad, Israelite brother got mad at me because I called him a goofball earlier, right? What word am I supposed to use? Am I supposed to say, wow,
a slanderer?
Look at this scholar. Look at this. Is that what I'm supposed to say? Sir, you're
presumptuous. What does the Bible say about being presumptuous?
Yeah, he's a fool.
Yeah. We have biblical precedent.
This guy read 2 quotes where Elder Bibbins is clearly going against Freemasonry and said, because of this, I think he's a Freemason.
You can't make this up. You can't make
Why
this
he said big shot. Understand, today you can learn this from a simple internet search. But this was not possible during Bibbins' day.
Prove it.
He used this term high standard in his writing, which he should know nothing of if he was not a Mason.
No.
If you are not a Mason, you would know very little about these terms. Masons do not discuss their ranks and their terminology with others that are not initiated. So I do personally believe that he was a Mason, though I cannot prove it. Either way, his foundation was based upon Matthew's, who was actually a confirmed Mason. Remember, Matthew created a Masonic lodge called the Royal Order of Ethiopian Hebrews, the Sons and Daughters of Culture. Those attached to him will be invited into the Masonic lodge. Let's keep discussing Bibbins. Bibbins attended the Commandment Keepers until 1969. After leaving the Commandment Keepers, Bibbins founded his own organization, the Israeli Tanakh School, ITS, at the start of the 1970s. By this time, he was commonly known as Abba Bibbins, although he had previously used the name Eber Ben Yomin. The address of ITS was 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, and this is where the group 1 West comes from. The followers of Abba Bibbins and the groups all come from 1 West. Now, Abba Bibbins was killed in 1973, allegedly by some black Muslims he had entered into a debate with. And so after his death, 2 members of his school were chosen to continue his teachings. And this is where the beginning of the 1 West camps that we all know of today started from. And so it's at this point that I will stop this teaching of history so I can explain this current group of Israelites in more depth in the next part of the series. What needs to be understood is that the Hebrew Israelites were put forth from the foundation of Freemasonry. I cannot attest to any of the leadership today being Freemasons.
This guy, man.
It's like, you know what? You people, you should go follow Truth Unedited if you want to. And I think there is good that can come from people following Truth Unedited. It will let me know who's stupid. I want to know when I'm driving down the road. I want to know if there's a stupid person. If someone has a Truth Unedited sticker on their back windshield, I want to know to get in the other lane. I don't trust you to turn at a right turn. I don't trust you to stop at red lights and go at green lights. I can't trust you. I can't trust them with anything. If you follow that, I don't know what to tell you. Exactly, Shema. He just wasted all these poor, innocent people's time. He does all this to say at the very end, well, I have no proof of any of the BS that I'm saying, but I'm saying it. Thanks for watching the video and giving me, on 100,000 views, probably resulting in some hundreds of dollars. Thanks.
Couple bands. I'm trying to chase this little 2 bands.
Like, honestly, and guess what? You cannot like us. You cannot like us. That's cool. But what you cannot do is listen to that part where he reads a book that is clearly going against what he's saying. He's saying, yeah, because of this, I think that he's a Freemason. There's no way that if you are a you don't have to be smart, man. A child knows that that's clearly not what's being said there. You have to know that he's wrong for that. Call him out for being wrong then. His worst one yet. This was really bad, Ron. Do you still have his phone number, Deacon? Let's call him. Or just text him. Text him. That was really bad. That's what we should do, y'all. We should call. Now, we don't got to call him online.
His phone number. No, I'm playing.
We can call him live. Hey, brother, you are live. What should we do? Put him on the chat. We should call him live and say, hey, can you exegete this on page 49 of the Marks of a Lost Race, where he clearly is speaking against when he says that people who idolize Freemasonry are fools. Can you kind of explain that a little bit and how it proves in your silly mind that makes him a Mason? See, Deacon's nice. I'm not the nice guy. I will call you and ask you that and embarrass you in front of more people. I will do it. I will do it. I will steal Deacon's phone. I will get the number and I will call you live. And you know what? And I'll have some Chinese food get ordered to your house. No play. Anything else, Deacon? I mean, that was
Stop giving out my secrets, bro. Okay. Man, somebody said call him and ask him what in your doctrine does he disagree with. I don't know if I have his number anymore, though, to be honest with you. All right, any questions, comments, or smoke? Any questions, comments, or smoke? Any questions, comments, or smoke, y'all? Listen, I'm telling you. I'm saying this because I have the authority. Hey, are we locked in?
Yeah, the authority.
We have the authority over the Bible.
Ridiculous.
We didn't say that. There's another camp who said that. So somebody says, are you debating him live? Rewind this video. We played some of the debate that we had about the Gentiles and all of that, where he got absolutely exposed. Definitely rewind the video. I'll put the full video in the description box after we close out of here. How do you deal with Deuteronomy 23, 7 and 8? That is, Edomites is saying that they can enter the congregation, meaning come sacrifice at the temple. That's what it means, congregation there, according to Lamentations 1 and 10. They can come sacrifice at the temple. Don't shun them away from sacrificing at the temple after they've been in the land for 3 or 4 generations. Yeah, we just covered his part 3 and debunked it through the Spirit of God. But y'all, this Sunday, I don't want you Black Israelites to be wrong on this no more. The lake of fire is not in America. The lake of fire is somewhere else. And 2/3 get the lake of fire. Wicked Israelites who take the mark of the beast and wicked Israelites in America are going to be a part of that 2/3 that get that lake of fire, who get gathered up out of here and get that lake of fire. You're going to get the correct understanding of Armageddon and the Valley of Jehoshaphat. 2 different instances, 2 different battles. We're both, Lord willing, we be the men, both involved in both of those battles. You're going to get the geographical location of the kill zone or the judgment zone, what we call the lake of fire. Y'all going to be in for some crazy work, but it's undeniable biblical proof, prophetic proof through the Spirit of the Most High God. And guess what, y'all? You get it for free. So hit the like button and share it. This Sunday, I'm going to put the link in the chat. Let me put the link to this video in the chat so you guys can make sure you go and set your reminders. Y'all are in for a rude awakening. Set your reminders. It's going to be on this channel, Priest Genesis Mode. What about Ezekiel 47:22 concerning the strangers? So our community is divided on that, but either way, I'm fine with either interpretation. One is those are Israelite strangers, because Isaiah 66 says we gather the Israelite strangers to bring them to the land and assign them to their tribe allotments. One says that's the heathen. The heathen has to live in our land because they gotta live somewhere while they serve us. So either way, either understanding is fine. It's not a big deal at all. No, this isn't. The Lake of Fire is not America presentation. It's not on Patreon. This is going to be on YouTube live this Sunday with crazy visuals and imagery. We put a lot into this so that nobody. And I also too, I'm going to send the PDF to all the camp leaders as well, because this ain't no big me, little you, and you don't have to teach it just because we teach it. I want to just give them the chance to show them that they're completely wrong on like 6 things. Did that sound?
Yeah, that did not sound right, Deacon.
This is why nobody likes me. I'm not being mean. I know I can come off condescending, and I talk to camp leaders behind closed doors, and I love them brothers. and I'll kill and die for him. That's just me, how I talk and how I am. I'm not trying to be an a-hole. Okay. All right, Hassad, I guess you can take us out, brother.
With that, we give all praises to Yahweh Shem Yahushai and say shalom.
Shalom, y'all.